got to welcome Miles to the world in Pordenone, Italy. He was born at Policlinico Hospital. I had a major fear of being turned away from the hospital because I had a friend who arrived at the hospital. They said she wasn't far enough along, so they sent her home, and she proceeded to have her baby at home in the bathtub. I wanted to make sure I would not be turned away. So long story short, Nolan and I were watching Below Deck. That was kind of my pregnancy show that I really enjoyed. I fell asleep laying on him, kind of woke me up to roll me over, and then we were laying there trying to go to sleep. I told him I kind of felt something. I wasn't sure if it was just maybe a practice contraction, so I just kind of tried to sleep it off and then was unable to go back to sleep. Also, I was 39 weeks and 4 days. He asked if he should stay awake, and I told him no, because if is the real deal, I want you to be rested for when I really need you. I started listening to my hypnobirthing course, the meditations from that. A little uncomfortable. I was Googling how to know real contractions versus practice contractions, and then I wasn't comfortable just laying in bed, so I went out into the living room. It's kind of blurry. I don't really remember the timeline. I took a lot of showers. That's when I felt the best. I listened to my meditations the entire time, and I put on Friends in the background, and Gunnar laid with me the whole time. It was very sweet. I could not be comfortable on my back, so I was on my hands and knees during my entire labor. So Nolan woke up around 8 in the morning, and I had been timing the contractions off and on. I was a little confused because it didn't feel like the intensity was growing that much. I felt earlier on some of my contractions felt stronger. I wasn't for sure if it was real. I guess he looked at me and was like, oh, okay, things have really progressed from when I went to sleep last night. I did hire a doula, so Nolan was in contact with her. Nolan sent her some not so flattering pictures of me. The biggest lifesaver was hip squeezes during every contraction for hours. It was actually funny. The next morning he's like, I'm so sore from squeezing your hips so much. I'm like, poor you. After I just birthed the baby. Then on one of my contractions, my water ended up breaking, so I wanted to take a shower, but Nolan said I took the world's longest shower, probably used all the hot water. He had to basically drag me out of the shower because it was so nice. I felt so calm and relaxed there. We drove to the hospital. Luckily at Policlinico, there are a couple spots for expecting moms right in the front. At that point, he was asking if he should get me a wheelchair. People were wanting to get me a wheelchair. I'm like, no, I'm fine. And it's raining. I'm walking up the stairs at a snail pace. He said everyone was staring at me, just stubborn, and I didn't see a wheelchair nearby, and I didn't want to sit down. We just, at a turtle pace, walked to the elevator. It's not like the States. No one's there to greet you. You have to flag the first person down that you see, whether that's a doctor, a midwife, it doesn't matter. They look at me kind of like, what are you guys here for? And Nolan's like, my wife is in labor. They're like, okay, and they let me cut some people. And then I checked me and they said, oh wow, yeah, you're 10 centimeters. Like, we're going to the delivery room. I can feel the head. It was crazy. So we went to the delivery room, and I had been wanting the green room because I wanted the pool, and I got the green room, but unfortunately wasn't able to use the pool because they needed to monitor the baby and have that thing around my stomach, and I hated that. Miles was a little bit stuck, so he took some time coming out. It had been a couple hours. I noticed that there were a lot more people in the room. Like, there had to be like 9 people in the room. Pushing was definitely the hardest part. Laboring at home went well until we got to the hospital. The drive there, Nolan decided to go away where we had to go over a couple speed bumps, and I just thought in my head, why? I also was very tired at that point because I had only had maybe 3 sips of Gatorade and 2 goldfish, like teeny tiny goldfish, because Nolan forced me to. And I think the issue with pushing was I had 0 urge. Usually they say you know when your body's ready, but I didn't have the time to wait around. There were a couple doctors, and one of them was like, first of all, she was calling me Maria for half the time, and that was very annoying. But she just looked at me in the eye and she's like, he needs to come out now. Very serious, he needs to come out, because they were worried about his breathing. I guess the amount of time that he had been stuck. I ended up having to have some help. One of the nurses was pushing on me so hard. The little guy arrived at like 6:30 at night, but they had to take him away immediately and put him on the CPAP, monitor him for a little bit. He still didn't have a name because I really wanted to see him before we gave him a name. So yeah, they took him away and checked him, and once we heard him cry, we felt so much better. And I think I got to hold him, it was under an hour. It had been less than an hour after he was born. It wasn't too long. He ended up being totally fine. We were very lucky. After they gave him to me, we got to spend a couple hours just the three of us in the room, and that was really special. And we went to a room, paid for a private room. I would do that a million times over. It was about 126 euro a night, and then that way Nolan could stay the whole time. Nolan ordered McDonald's. We had chicken nuggets. Here is the private hospital room, 2 beds. We brought a fire stick, highly recommend. There's a changing table and a nice chair. Here's the other view, and it was really nice having a private bathroom. I was able to have all of my postpartum necessities just set up on the counter, and we did have a really nice view. The food was okay. The baby stays with you the whole time, which was really nice. And here are the sleepy boys. Miles and I both got checked to be cleared to leave, and then it was very informal. No one did a car seat check. We just walked out. We had roofers working on our roof the morning after we brought Miles home, and we also had to get our house painted because of mold. Not the best timing. 2 days after being discharged, you have to go back to the hospital for a weight check. It was very quiet because it was an Italian holiday, and here is Miles' handwritten doctor's note. Days postpartum, we're going on our very first family adventure with Gunnar and Miles. Ciao, hello. We are currently, how many days is this? 19 days postpartum. That little guy back there is 19 days old. I obviously had the baby. We stayed in the hospital, and then we have been home thriving. And now we're going to Pordenone Town Hall to pick up the birth certificate of Miles. Because the Aviano passport office was taking quite a while to process any passports, we drove to Vicenza, about an hour and a half away. And here are his passport pictures. It's April 24th. I'm about to go to Vicenza to do some shopping. I was going to go to Eurospar, and then they close at 8. It's now 8:13, so I better hurry up because this place closes at 8:30. I have not felt like recording anything. Actually, I have felt like it, but then my camera's just not near me or it's not charged, and then next thing you know, it's time to go to bed. Nolan and I were talking about it, and I feel like our days just fly by right now. It's crazy. I'm looking at the mountains and there is some snow on them. All the boys are at home, Gunnar, Miles, and Nolan. So this mama is just free. Ciao. We made it. It is almost 1 month with Miles. I can't believe it. And we just left Nolan and Miles to come to the grocery store. But it is a little bit rainy out. I wanted to do a little bit of a walk with him, but I don't really feel like walking in the rain, and also Gunnar doesn't love to walk in the rain. So we're just gonna go to the grocery store. That is one of my favorite things about Italy. I can just bring Gunnar with me everywhere. He has been to some of the very nicest restaurants. He's also been to a ton of wineries. It's been a little bit more rough. The first 3 weeks were really not bad at all. I feel like I actually got a decent amount of sleep. Miles is a good little sleeper. This new thing has been happening, and we think he might have reflux. He doesn't seem super bothered by it, but when he vomits, I don't love throwing up. I actually hate it. It's one of my phobias. And I also don't want him to feel bad. I feel like Nolan and I are doing a science experiment right now, trying to figure out why it happens. It's not every time. Usually when I'm right out of the shower, then it's on top of me. We're working on that right now, and it's just kind of hard because then you have to sit up with him for a long time. If we don't sit up with him for like 45 minutes after, he potentially will throw up. That's just kind of what we're navigating right now. I mean, everything else is good. Absolutely hates being cold. When we get him out of the bath, he does, Nolan calls it Frankenstein, where he like puts his hands out straight. Overall, the month is great. Just lately, we're figuring out this new stuff. And Gunnar gets very concerned. So when I woke up to do like middle of the night feedings, it was a little bit tough because I had to sit up with him and then pump. Morning. Wiggly monster. We're lounging in the bed. It's Monday morning. April was truly a whirlwind. Now we are in the second month of life. These days, they truly fly by. Miles has some reflux or something going on, so he has to be upright for like 30 to 40 minutes after he eats, but he's already a slow eater. It just feels like all day we're eating while he's eating. Today, Nolan went back to work for his first full day, and he's actually flying. He should be landing right now. So I hear the little guy is in his bassinet right now, probably waking up. It's 10 in the morning. We woke up at like, I don't know, 5-ish. We did take a nap. I'm gonna go grab him and let's start the day. Got ready-ish. I have a little bit of makeup on. I am still in my robe. My arm's gonna be sore from this. Hang on. I'm gonna get dressed and then we're gonna do normal Monday things. So get some fruits and veggies. I need to get out of the house. It's beautiful today. I could easily just stay in here and get stuck in the little cycle. I don't want to do that because my mood is much better. My day is much better when I leave. I'm currently reading the 4th trimester, but I also have it on Audible. So I'm gonna listen to that on my walk today. I need to start implementing a morning routine of some sort because that's when I know that I feel the best. And I just am not doing it right now. I'm also on my phone constantly because I log when he eats and also his diapers. I feel like I just have my phone out even if I'm not on social media or like texting or anything. I still don't want to be on my phone first thing. Let's get out. I am packing up diaper bag because you never know what you're gonna need. Finally, we're about to leave. It is just hilarious how long things take when you have a baby. There's a learning curve here. My diaper bag is the best. All right, let's go. We're on base now. I went home, Nolan packed up Miles, and now we're on base because it is the bazaar. The bazaar happens twice a year, and it's basically a bunch of vendors from Italy, but also some from Austria and Germany, and they sell a lot of wine, cheese, random goods, and it's really fun. It's in 2 big hangars. Let's go see what we get. And I'm excited to show a bunch of my friends who are vendors there Miles.